Hey, Katie Boo. Hey, girl. How do you do? How be you? Skidamarinky dinky dink, I love you. Katie Boo. How be you? Anyway, I got up to pee, and I got back into, the warm spot, where I was laying in bed, and it got me thinking, when I get back into bed, when you're my wife, number one, I'll probably have to move Katie Boo, or Cindy, I mean, out of the warm spot that I was laying, because she'll probably move over, so I'll have to move her back to her own warm spot. Or maybe set her on your head or something. And I'll give you a kiss on the cheek and pet Cindy a little bit. And I'm gonna, give away the game here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. One time I'll have a toilet paper tube that's empty, and I'll hold it to my mouth and go, and scare the shit out of you and Cindy. And Cindy will jump up and run to the end of the bed and do a backflip, up like 3 feet in the air and land on the ground and run around and run. She'll run sideways with her inertia and actually run up the wall a little bit and take a couple steps, and just sort of if you've ever seen a skateboarder go up to a wall and kind of skate across it, and then jump back down or whatever. And she'll just kind of spurg out. I don't know if you've seen those AI videos, where they always jump up in the air and do a backflip, and then they'll run over and run into something and knock the TV over or a bookshelf or some shit. You've probably seen them. I mean, they're totally fake ass, AI. And they just sort of run around a little bit, and that'll be kind of funny. You'll be mad at me, and I'll have to apologize to Cindy and to you. And it's you'll be mad at me, but you can't stay mad at me, because you love me and shit. And I'll think it's funny. I'll apologize for being an asshole, but still maintain that it was a funny thing to do. I wouldn't do it again, but anyway, I just was thinking about that. You didn't know your dog was so agile. You didn't know she could do a backflip, let alone a backflip 3 feet in the air off the end of the bed. And she'd flop and hit the ground. She wouldn't land on her feet like a cat. She'd land on her side, so it'd be like this boom, that you'd hear and you'd feel it a little bit, through the floor. So, anyway. And I'll have to buy those outfits, where it makes their front legs look like, they're standing up, in pants. And they have fake arms coming out the side. I'll get one that looks like a samurai, because she's a shitty tissue, which I think they were invented in Japan. The shitty tissue. So, just like the donkey was invented in Mexico. And, oh boy. The German Shepherd was invented in Germany. So, anyway, French Bulldog was invented in France. English Bulldog was invented in England. But, hey, SC, I'm surprised you don't post more videos of your dog. What's its name? I bet it's Brutus, huh? I've said this before. He seems like the kind of dog where he would fart and wake himself up and search the entire house looking for it, and then come back and be disappointed and look at you, for no reason whatsoever. I couldn't find it. I thought maybe I could make a new friend, or whatever. I don't know. Just, oh, and you got a French bulldog too. So, does the little French bulldog ride around on the back of the big bulldog? So, you're the type of girl who might make some sort of like Louis Vuitton / Gucci like saddle, like those palace things, like the ancient kings used to ride on the backs of elephants or whatever. It's like more than a saddle. It's like a little basket with like a sun visor and shit. So you probably know what I'm talking about, or you can look it up. Is that a thing? Seems like it should be, or was, Elefante. And nobody else. Anyway, I'm so sad and alone. I ain't got nobody in my life. Anybody to share my bed. This is your spot right here. Right here. It's waiting for you. It's all cold and shit now. It's all empty. There's nobody here. But I stumbled across this video, and it was kind of a sad one. It was like, men need intimacy, otherwise, or it was a short. It was like, babe, when a man has to beg for intimacy, it breaks his spirit or whatever. Duh. Like his wife, is like, not tonight. I'm tired. Because he needs that like reassurance. He needs to know he's like, still loved and appreciated. Makes sense, doesn't it? And it got me thinking about you. How I've said, it's like I'm easy to please because I have a, panty fetish and rubbing my dick on your face fetish and shit like that. So it's like, I don't have to actually like enter you, right? It's like just, throw a thigh on either side of me in the morning. I'll go get the towel, and just, be it thong, butt cleavage or panty smooth groove, just rub back and forth. And, I'm really easy to please, you know what I mean? So I'll be like, I'm so glad it was definitely the right decision marrying yo ass, as well as the rest of you attached to it. Ain't that tad either. So, but anyway. And chicks are the same way. See, and I've said this. I think I said this a couple days ago. I don't remember. If a dude isn't in a relationship, that's fine. It's easier, for him to like jack off and just get the poison out, quote unquote. Now there's no intimate connection. It's just but a guy can like manage. It's not a huge deal. Plus, a guy, if he takes care of himself, he becomes more sexually valuable as he gets older. He's got more wisdom. He's got more money. And, guys age better than chicks. And, so he doesn't have the wall to deal with. But that's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a guy can be abstinent, or whatever the word is, from sexual intercourse with another human being for long periods of time, and it doesn't like affect his psyche, for lack of a better word, his self-worth, whatever. But a chick needs to be in a relationship, even if it's just a situationship or a fling, casual. Hookups can, like I said, that whole connection thing, kind of fucks with their wiring, Like, it's been proven. They did like studies. They showed like pictures, people, the number of sexual partners, and if they were in a relationship versus out of a relationship, and this, that, and the other. Yeah, apparently the more times a different dude, a new dick, enters a chick, it makes her less able to, emotionally connect with whoever she eventually ends up settling with. So, So like one night stands and hookups, are pretty detrimental, to a chick. But the thing is, she kind of needs to, and I didn't hear this anywhere. I'm just sort of making this up, but chicks need intimacy. And they need that itch scratched every now and then, the sexual, just whatever. So. Mrs. Butthead comes to mind. But of course, because I think she's not a slut. She's just low-hanging fruit. She's not a hoe. She's just easy. And that's kind of how that game tends to work. The fugly chicks always have higher body counts because they can't really say no. As we're Kleber, if somebody was like to be like, so, you want to go get coffee sometime? Okay, fine. You can buy me a coffee, and she'll like, just have a nice time with him, but just be like, maybe it's, I'm not really looking for a relationship right now. Or maybe she'll just say, oh, I'm in a relationship, whatever. Which would be the more mature thing to say versus, I have a boyfriend. You know what I mean? It just sounds more mature and intelligent. If a chick wants to, turn a guy down, even if she's not in a relationship, which do you think sounds better? Leave a comment below. Oh, that's sweet. I have a boyfriend. Versus, oh, that's sweet. I'm in a relationship. Which sounds more mature, But, whatever. I'm right. Because if you say yes, well, now he's got like hope, right? So now you're going to shatter his potential. And he's going to be like, this bitch just used me for a coffee. It's like she gave me a shot and decided I wasn't worth it. You know what I mean? And it's better to just, shut them down up front. You know what I mean? So, but to each their own. But Kleber, she's pretty. So she can afford to turn people down. Mrs. Butthead can't. So ironically, Kleber probably has a body count of like, I don't know, 30. And I truly do believe this. If you extrapolate, Mrs. Butthead, she's probably got a body count due to her age. She's probably got a body count of around 55. And, now she's married to the Gwede. And, that's just where she settled. And like I said, I think she is kind of a traditional girl. The rules, she's kind of special in that way and unique. Oh, she's so special. Oh, yeah. She's dating a special guy, too. He's the special ed edition of the Greek god clan or whatever. Clan? Well, yeah. Tribe. Whatever. Like I said, I've been binging on these videos. The Romans, the Spartans, the barbarians, the Vikings. They were all, quote-unquote, tribes. They were a group of peoples who lived in a section of the land. And they did not get along with their neighbors. They never have, and apparently they never will. That seems to be the running theme. Even people, like the Native Americans. Shit, they were fucking each other up all the time, man. Hey, this is our land. There's only so many buffalo, you motherfuckers. No, we're not going to absorb you. That's just more mouths to feed. We're going to kill you. People do not get along, man. So, anyway. But yeah, I think she's, she's an anomaly in that sense. Because she wants it, you know what I mean? She wants the family and all that shit. She wants kids so bad. They're just, like I said, once the kid's on the scene, that changes the game. And she'll love it. She'll love that phase, But like I said, the baby and the baby gear. Diapers, formula, baby powder, baby wipes. Everywhere she goes, she's going to have to pack that shit with her. So if it's just her, she's going to have the baby in the stroller or the carrier, and she's going to have to carry that shit like on her back. So the baby will be like in the front, in the little carrier. Super mom. Geared up to the hilt. But anyway, that reminds me, I had said that when I was all like geared up in that harness and shit with when I was working with the first company. I had to do it a few times with the second company too, because we had to get up like on the conveyors and shovel shit off, But because you got the I forget what it's called, but the lanyard or whatever, the thing that you're actually like strapped to that you hook on to shit. And I felt I don't know why. I mean, it's in hindsight, it wasn't a lot of gear or anything, but I was walking and shit was like clanking and shit, and I got all these straps and belts and loops and hooks, hanging off me and shit, and I don't know. Remember when I drove a truck? Had a shovel in my hand, and a sledgehammer in the other one, Yeah. And now I'm making $50,000 a year living hand to mouth. Remember when I drove a truck? Yeah. And we'd raise up in that basket and have to clean those hoppers out. So. Anyway. And I didn't work there long enough. I was going to have that dude make a, with the rotary gun, an extended. That was my idea. Let's make some shit. I think it was. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah. Still haven't bought my little cracker box welder. I ain't got no boo thing in my life to perform for, Still got the cheap-ass thin metal shades that came with the house. I don't care. They were good enough for me. I don't give a shit. I could have a literal blanket, nailed up there into the wall. I don't care. Which is actually kind of bad. I should care, regardless of whether or not I have a boo thing in my life to perform for. So, and I've said that before. I'm actually not joking. You do have to demonstrate. You need to always be maintaining something, improving something. You need to literally, quote unquote, perform. She needs to see you doing things, being active, keeping your gray matter stirred. If you have nothing to do, you find something to do. You build something, you create something, you improve something. You have to always be doing something. And this is me talking. I didn't hear Mr. Longhead say this or anything. I ain't got no sweet little plickety-plack ass boo thing in my life to perform for. So therefore, I sit back and I do nothing because I'm Sigma. Right? That's not what Sigmas do. Actually, technically, I'm a Sigma, just not the cool kind. As far as, like I said, just, so. Anyway, 20 minutes in. Oh, sweet Katie Boo. Maybe I'll email you today. And like I said, that way you're not on the spot, and it won't be like a creeper way. It'll be acute, like if you don't know I exist. When I send you this email, which will probably happen today, it'll be like cute and endearing. Hey, I'm an ASMR fan. This is your future husband. Like being facetious, I believe the word is. Just being playful and cute. Not like, oh, I love you. Not like, okay, weirdo. And you'll show all your friends, and they'll be like, oh, he, and so, and we'll kick this off, and I can get that panty butt of yours in my life, and the rest of you will, kind of be a bonus, too. So, talk to you soon.